Hello YouTube, I just landed in Shenzhen in China, which is one of my favourite places to be, and I bought the brand new Oppo Find N6 with me. I've been using this phone for a few weeks now, and I think it might be my new favourite foldable phone. So in this video, I'm going to tell you why I like it so much, and then we'll test out these cameras and see how they do. So let's get into it. So we're going to start off with a close-up look at the hardware. As you can see, I've got the orange version, which is a pretty bold color choice. And obviously Oppo may have been a bit inspired by Apple in this case, but I think it looks good. It's got a golden frame, which makes it look very fancy. Maybe too fancy for some, but if you want to make a statement, I think this orange version is going to turn some heads for sure. It's a very slim foldable phone, but I don't think it can take the crown as the absolute slimmest, because I think the Z Fold 7 is actually still a little bit slimmer. Yeah, I think that's quite obvious when you see them side by side. But does that matter in reality? Not really in the slightest. That's just bragging rights, because this already feels like a regular phone. It's around the same thickness and weight as like the Oppo Find X9 Pro, for example. That's all you really need from foldable, in my opinion. This one is IP58 and IP59 rated, so it's essentially waterproof. It doesn't match the IP68 rating of the Google Pixel 10 Pro Fold, but Google themselves have said that that rating is temporary and the dust resistance won't stick around forever. So is Oppo just being a bit more honest? You be the judge of that. Either way, it's pretty much waterproof. You will still have to be a little careful around dust because we got moving parts. One thing I really like about this phone is it doesn't feel fragile, and that's especially true of the inner display. It has a much thicker coating on it than I'm used to seeing, and I haven't tried to mark it up because I'm not a psycho, but I feel like if I was to dig my nail on this screen coating, it would have a better chance of not scratching it than most foldables that I've tried. Of course, the big defining feature of this phone is the zero feel crease, and it truly is almost invisible, especially with the screen on, but even with it turned off, you can barely see the crease on this. Just compare it to the Z Fold 7, much more obvious crease on this phone. It's not a deep crease on this phone, but you can feel it with your finger, and you can see it when the light hits it. And just for good measure, here's the Google Pixel 10 Pro Fold, which is a much deeper groove. And there's a weird bump in this that always bothers me. Don't know how well you see it on camera, but it's like higher. The hinge is higher here than it is down here. You can really feel that when you swipe your finger across it. You don't get any of that with the Oppo Find N6 because Oppo 3D scans every single hinge and fills the uneven areas with a UV curable liquid. And what that means is that the height variance is like almost non-existent. 0.05 millimeters, I think they said the height variance is. You can feel it, but you can barely feel it. It was probably the first foldable I've used where I can truly forget that it even has a crease. That's all the more important because of this new accessory. Oppo's selling a case for this phone that comes with a stylus in the back that magnetically sits in place. They're calling it the AI pen. I don't really know what's AI about it exactly, but it's a nice stylus that works on both the front and the rear screen. And the really clever thing about this charges from the phone. Can you see these two little contacts down here? And there's two contacts on the stylus as well. And I guess it uses reverse wireless charging to charge the stylus. Quite interesting that, because you don't turn any setting on or anything. You just slap the case on the phone. You've got a little button on the side of the stylus, which can bring up this menu, and you can do different things like capture part of your screen, annotate things, or open the Notes app. It's pretty good, pretty low latency. I'm not really a stylus guy, so it's hard for me to judge this too much, but it seems quite good. And if you like writing handwritten notes, then you're sure to enjoy this. And that hinge really makes a difference because you can write anywhere on the screen and you're not really going to feel that bump. It feels like you're writing on a flat surface pretty much. For me personally, I'm not really that into drawing or writing, so I don't use a stylus very much. I do quite like it in apps like LumaFusion that have a very tiny, cluttered interface because I can just hit these little icons. It just gives me more precision. So I do use the stylus for that, but I don't really use it in the way that it's intended. But I'm sure a lot of people will, and that's pretty cool. I've actually been using a third-party case with mine. I got this off AliExpress before the phone was even announced. there were cases for it on AliExpress. This is just a super thin aramid fiber case with MagSafe magnets built in. And those magnets are more useful to me than the pen, mainly because if you want to vlog using the rear cameras, excuse my conservatory roof, this is a really nice way to grip the phone, because obviously you can't use a normal phone clamp because it won't be wide enough. You can use a tablet clamp, but that's just big and cumbersome. So yeah, MagSafe is the way to go. I'll leave links in the description to this case I bought. I think it was only about £10, really cheap, and this lovely MagSafe tripod from Coman, which is even better with this phone because it's orange and it matches. That's super nice. Not that it matters. Now, to talk about the software a little bit, it runs ColorOS, which I use the Oppo Find X9 Pro as my main phone, so I'm super used to this software, and it's my favorite Android skin, so obviously I like it here too. But the multitasking is probably one of the best things. So if you've got an app open, you can pull up this little menu at the bottom and select another app. Say I wanted my calculator, I can drag it here, set it as a split screen, and if I want a third app, let's say I want Amazon open, I can drag that here, and then I've got a third app. You can swap them around. You can have them larger, so you can have one app big, one app small, resize them all, and just quickly switch between them. It's very similar to what we saw on the OnePlus Open. It's a really nice way to multitask. You can also do this new 4-finger swipe gesture, which turns everything into a floating window. And with floating windows, you can have up to 4 apps open at once, resize them all, do what you want. Can look a little chaotic, but if you're trying to get a lot done, that can be really useful. I've been on the road a lot since I've had this phone, and I've actually written quite a lot of articles on this phone. I love being able to have, for instance, the article I'm writing on the left side of the screen, maybe a spec sheet or a reviewer's guide or something on the right side of my screen. And when the phone's unfolded, you get this lovely split keyboard, which I find much faster to type on than trying to type on a little cramped keyboard. So it's been a real productivity hack for me using this compared to a normal phone. And the other really nice thing is that this phone is mad powerful. It's got the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 inside, and it is a slightly customized version for foldable hardware, so it might not be as fast as a full-fat Snapdragon 8 Gen 5, but what I've been able to do with it has actually astonished me. I've been using this GameSir grip, and I've been emulating the PC version of GTA 5 on this foldable, and I can't believe how well it works. So I won't tell you how to do this exactly because you do need a dodgy copy of GTA 5, but there are plenty of guides on YouTube that'll tell you exactly how to set this up. It just runs really, really well. I've got it locked to 30 frames per second at the moment, and that's purely to keep temperatures down because I had a couple instances of it overheating. If you put the frame limit up to like 60, it will play at about 60 frames per second. This is on normal settings. It's just incredible that a folding phone can do this. Just to reiterate, this is not cloud streaming or anything like that. This is running natively on the phone, and it works in airplane mode, and that's really going to keep me sane on the very long flight to Shenzhen. But yeah, if you're a gamer and if you're into emulation, pretty awesome device with this lovely big screen. I've been having a lot of fun with it. You also get a 6,000 milliamp hour battery, which is pretty big for a foldable, and it's been doing me really well. As I mentioned, I've been traveling a lot, and that means a lot of screen on time, and it's still never failed to get me to the end of the day. You're not going to get 2 days out of it or anything, but the battery life's pretty great. Charges quickly as well, and the rest of this video is going to be about the cameras, but just to give you a quick idea of the specs, 1/2.75-inch sensor on both the ultra-wide and the telephoto camera, while the main camera gets a 1/1.55-inch sensor, and it's a 200 megapixel sensor on the main camera. I think it's the same sensor as the Vivo X300 base model, so not the biggest sensors in the world, but we got that Hasselblad collab for the tune-in, and the 3x periscope has macro focusing capabilities, so you can get some really nice close-ups with it. But that's enough nattering. Let's get back to the vlog, and I'll show you how these cameras look. Alright, so welcome back to the other side of the world. I'm filming this on the selfie camera at 4K 30 frames per second. The selfie camera is really nothing too special. so I'm not expecting this to look great. We are using the built-in mic, as I always do, but with a phone like this you don't really have to use the selfie camera, because you can just flip it around and use the rear camera, which I'll do right now. Okay, so here's the main rear camera, which should look a lot nicer, give you a shallower depth of field and everything. This video is going to be a bit out of order compared to my usual videos, because we're starting at night, as you can see, and then we'll do some daytime stuff in the morning. But yeah, what do you reckon to this camera? And of course you can use the ultra wide as well, which I quite like to do for shots like this, because you get more of your surroundings in. Not that there's really anything cool in the background right now, but if I face this way, there's a pretty nice Ferris wheel. But yeah, how's this doing in lower light conditions? Okay, let's check out our video zoom capabilities. This is our ultra wide camera. Now here's the main. Here's the 3x lens. We also get a button for 6x. And at a maximum, we can push out to 18 times, which is quite impressive. Let's try that on something further away. Zoom into the top of this Ferris wheel. Yeah, looking a bit grainy up there, but it is very dark up there. But we're zooming all that way. Very nice zoom animation as well, which I always appreciate. Okay, so let's do a quick test of video stabilization. We're on the ultra wide camera right now at 4K 30 frames per second, and I'm in the normal video mode. There is an ultra steady mode that I can turn on as well. So here's walking along normally, and here's a quick jog. Now the main camera, walking along normally and with a quick jog, and the 3x telephoto, excuse me robot, walking along normally and here's a quick jog. So this is really interesting. I'm in like a pretty dark area around here. There's not many street lights, or the ones that are here are pretty dim, and there's all these little benches you can sit on and like steps going up to things. And all of them have got these crazy flashing orange strobes on them, so you don't trip up a step or anything. It just looks a bit crazy. So if you're wondering how this phone performs when it's really, really dark, this is what the selfie camera looks like. And you might be able to see the background, but you can't really see me. And to be honest, I can't see a lot either. However, if you switch around to the main rear camera, things should look quite a bit better. I mean, there's only so much you can do. It's extremely dark here. You should be able to see me a bit better on this lens compared to the selfie camera. And here's what the ultra wide camera looks like. Still pretty dark, but maybe just about usable. Does give you a nice wide field of view, but I think any camera is going to struggle in these lighting conditions. Okay, good morning Shenzhen. We're back on the selfie camera at 4K 30 frames per second, and I think you'll agree this lens looks much better in the daylight. But how do the other lenses look? Okay, now here's the main rear camera, which should look the best of the bunch. How's this doing in brighter lighting conditions? And here's the ultra wide camera. You can record in log on all three of the main rear lenses at up to 4K 60 frames per second. And the main camera will let you do 4K 120, which we'll try out in a moment. So this is log, and I've put a custom color grade on it. Hopefully it's looking all right. I am in direct sunlight, which never looks the best, but what can you do? And here's the ultra wide, which obviously you get those same lovely colors. Okay, now we're going to check out our video zoom in the daytime. The buildings across the bay are kind of hazy and foggy in real life, so I might not use them because they probably won't look the best. Instead, let's use this sign on this massive bridge over here. So here's the ultra wide camera, here's the main camera, here's our 3x periscope, Here's the 6 times button, and we can go out to a max of 18 times, which doesn't look too bad. Stabilization looks very good. And there's smoothly back out to the ultra wide. So all 3 rear lenses on this phone have autofocus. We're starting with the ultra wide, and you can see I can get really close to this flower. That looks pretty great actually. The main camera can't get as close as the other lenses, but it can still get decently close, and you get some lovely bokeh when you do. The telephoto camera is really good for macro. You can get right in on this flower, and I think you'll agree that looks pretty stunning. Now let's look at our standard video stabilization. Starting on the ultra wide camera, I'm just walking along at a normal pace, and here's with a quick jog. Now the main camera, same thing, just walking along normally, and here's with a quick jog. And finally our 3X, here's walking along normally, and here's with a quick jog. So that's about it for this one. I hope you found it useful. As I said at the start, the Oppo Find N6 has become one of my favorite foldable phones. And after seeing this video, I'm sure you can understand why. But let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think there's a better folding phone out there? And if so, which one? Get subscribed if you're not already, because I'm always testing out the latest phones. And now I'm gonna go eat my weight in Chinese food. So I'll catch you in the next one. Toodles.